we always felt like there was this tension between making disciples and running the day in and day out church program stuff. And by the way, there's nothing wrong with church life, but what we felt is we felt this tension with how much time and effort and energy we devoted toward running church programs versus pouring into people. We just really enjoyed the informal settings around tables, talking about life, sharing about Jesus with other believers and with unbelievers in the context of our home. We found a lot of life doing that. It was just a growing passion for us to make disciples in the less formal ministry settings. So in homes, in coffee shops, just in the everyday stuff of life. They're really approaching church planning with their hands open, which I think is the right way to do it. Not to toot their horn too much, but I think they're doing really cool stuff. The Bible never gives you these like commandments, right? In the New Testament of thou shalt be this type of church. The model is not what saves. Jesus is what saves. No other name under heaven is given by which anyone can be saved other than Jesus Christ. We want to elevate his name. We want to elevate him in all things. The gospel and making disciples is what we're about. We are a church of house churches, and we're on mission to multiply the followers of Jesus through the everyday stuff of life. Despite continuous pressure and oppression from the communist government, house church leaders refuse to compromise the gospel by joining government-controlled churches. The government has installed hundreds of millions of facial recognition cameras, many in or near churches, to identify those who attend worship services. Praise the Lord for Christians in China who share the gospel despite police intimidation. What was God's original design for humanity? To understand what it means to be the church, what it means to be the gathered disciples of Jesus, you have to understand what was God's intention for humanity all along. When the Bible talks about God creating, what does the Bible mean? Does it mean the same thing that we think of? When we think of creation as Westerners, we think of material existence. The way we describe God creating in our modern Western worldview is not the same as they thought about it in the ancient Middle East. And the Bible is in total lockstep with this worldview. Genesis chapter 1, verse 2 describes the pre-cosmic condition as it was understood in Israelite thought. As in the rest of the ancient world, the pre-creation state is not absent of matter, as the primordial waters are already present. Spoiler alert, we're called to bring order to chaos. For the ancient biblical authors, creation was about the establishment of the functioning cosmos, not about the origins of the material structure or substance of the cosmos. What's happening in Genesis chapter 1 is an ordering of chaos. It's God making a functional world that is suitable for inhabitants in the heavens, in the seas, and on the earth. Humanity is regarded as the statue of God. Humanity is to be the eyes, ears, mouth, being, and action of the Creator God within his creation. What this does is it really just intensifies how much we're made to be like God. That we're actually made to be like him and functioning like he does in the whole universe on this earth as his physical representatives, as his living icons, his idols. You see sin for what it really is, divine treason. I was made to be something, almost indescribably great. And yet, me and everyone else, we've fallen from that really, really high ideal. Humans are placed on earth in God's image as God's sovereign emblem by calling us the image of God. The Bible is saying that we're made to be physical representations of him, but we're also made to function like him by continuing his creative work. We as humans have a high and divine calling. We're made to be like God, and we're made to do the same type of work that he does. And so when we don't do that, when we then choose instead to rebel and to go our own way, what we're doing is we're not just making silly mistakes. We're committing treason. Sin is not just falling short or not just doing something you know is wrong, but doing it anyway. Ultimately, sin is treason because we, as his royal representatives, are rebelling against our king and setting up our own kingdoms. So when we start to think about what does it mean to be human, it means to be this royal representative of God, himself, instead of bringing order to the chaos, we have perpetuated chaos. We have created it and furthered it around the world.